room and this club. It was founded in 1819 and it's the second oldest club in London actually. We moved to this building in 1829, that's right. And the purpose of the club is originally was as a place for diplomats and ambassadors and people like that to meet and discuss foreign affairs, hence the name The Travellers. Since then, of course, the profile of the membership has changed, and we have all sorts of members, travellers, travel journalists, travel writers, spies, that kind of thing, and people like me who are just interested in travel generally. This library is regarded as one of the finest libraries in Clubland, and this frieze was plucked from a 5th century temple in Greece, I think. I'm sure the Greeks don't know about that. They'd want it back if they did. Well, in a sense, travel this club is dedicated to travel. In a sense, so is the FSI. That's a very tortured link, I know, but
well done.
but well done. I had to work it in somehow for it, because of course everybody we sponsor, everybody we support is on a journey of their own, or often in inhospitable climates, inhospitable terrains, but and you're going to hear a lot more about what we do as a charity in a minute or two from the other speakers. And I think I'm handing over to Kim, aren't I? Kim Sutton? Yes, I am. Here you are.
Thank you.
To talk about what we do.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to share with you some of my experiences of working for charities small and large in the UK, and how these experiences enable me to stand here tonight and speak honestly and passionately about the amazing difference and impact the FSI makes for small charities and the third sector as a whole. I started my charity career with Action for Children, formerly known as the NCH. As Action for Children is the third largest children's charity in the UK, as the manager of their Young Carers project down in South London. And whilst I was geographically isolated from the other NCH projects and the North London head office, I only ever had to pick up the phone or jump on the tube to access an abundance of resources, skills, and the support of my friendly colleagues, not to mention unlimited training. 3.5 years later, I decided to move to a small local community association to set up a youth project in Holborn. And the differences in resources between this new, small local association and my previously large charity were just incredible. I remember by the end of my first day just putting my head in my hands and thinking, oh my goodness, what have I done? Why on earth would I have walked away from all of those amazing systems and procedures, all of that support, to come here to sit in this tiny little office at the end of a building by myself for up to 12 hours a day? And so gone were all of the most basic support, including heating, might I add. Gone was HR support, finance, definitely no more events team, and no more in-house print department, and anything like that you can imagine, and definitely no celebrity team. So I quickly made do, and I soon realised that most funders rarely want to fund core costs. So any core costs that I managed to raise were spent developing my very young youth team, focusing really only on the very essential and important topics such as child protection and personal safety. In fact, I had to put my own personal development and professional development on hold for the whole 3 years that I was there. But this situation miraculously changed when I moved to my next slightly larger but still small charity, School Home Support, to be the head of fundraising. And it didn't change because the organisation was slightly larger. It changed because of the emergence into the third sector of amazingly welcome, friendly new friend, the Foundation for Social Improvement. I remember getting this email in my office one day saying, oh, free training, a fundraising training and a conference at Credit Suisse. And I thought, great, come on fundraising team, let's go. So off we went, and one by one we each came back and were just amazed at how incredibly accessible, practical, friendly and helpful the support that the FSI were giving. I remember looking at Pauline and Kim at the time and thinking, oh my gosh, this team are just godlike. I couldn't stop raving about them, but should I say goddess-like? How amazing would it be to work for them one day? But I soon learned just how practical and useful that training was when I went back to my office and applied some of the skills I had gained in the major gifts training to secure £500,000 from Sir Tom Hunter and the BBC. And I continued to implement the learning that I had secured through the FSI to secure more than £3 million in the next 18 months, enough to keep my organisation going for a whole 2 years. So that was absolutely amazing, and I'm so proud now to be part of this team, to be able to help thousands of other small charities benefit in the same way that myself and my team did, to become more effective, more efficient and sustainable. So thank you. And I would now like to introduce you to the ever-inspiring founding chair of the FSI, Emma Harrison. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you very much. Well, I always get so nervous. I don't want to. I've got clammy hands yet again. Right, hello. Hello, everybody. Lovely to see you all. Can I take us right back to the story, if I may? For those of you who know, I did something called Secret Millionaire. Yeah? Did you see me sobbing on the wall and living in Dagenham and in a council house, freezing cold, no heating, £8 a day to live on, etc., etc. My job while I was there was to find people that I could support. And I did this with great fervour, so much so that I got told off by the film team saying, "God, for God's sake, Emma, stop, will you? You know, like, we've actually got it all set up for you." I said, "No, I'm going to go and find my own people." Anyway, what happened as I was living there, because it was the first series, so no one had ever seen this thing before, I came across some people I really wanted to help. And for those of you who want to know Wynne, the little old lady, she's fantastic. She's doing really well. I'm still very close to her because everyone always asks me about Wynne. She's very well, thank you. But I came across a charity that was offering respite care, looking after kids on Saturdays so mums and dads could perhaps take other kids out, have a bit of a rest. Bloody marvellous, this charity. Absolutely fantastic. No money whatsoever and not a clue about how to raise money. And they were stumbling from one disaster to the next. Anyway, they were about to fall over, so I wrote them a cheque for £30,000, which would keep them going for another year. Floods of tears and all the rest of it. But I felt bad. There was something wrong about this gift of £30,000. Because I actually realised that for the next year, they were going to spend the money, and by the end of that year they were going to run out of the money again, and it was all going to fall over, and all the parents would be devastated, the kids would be devastated. Effectively, you're just prolonging the agony. And that night in Dagenham, oh, I'd love to take you back to the house, on my freezing cold bed, yeah, with no heating and all the rest of it, sitting there shaking in my dressing gown, I thought, what am I going to do? I begged my phone back off the film crew, and I made one phone call. And I made that phone call to Pauline. I said, "Pauline, I've just written a cheque for £30,000 to this charity. They're going to spend it and then it's all going to collapse. We've got to train these buggers. Excuse the language. We've got to train them, and I've got to stop giving people the fish. I've got to give them the fishing rod. Pauline, will you do me a favour? I can give them the £30,000, but the biggest gift was if I could get you." Pauline was at the NSPCC. I do apologise, Mary, the head of the NSPCC. I nicked her. At the time, I was chairing a great big fundraising committee for the NSPCC, so I'd learnt about fundraising, and I knew where genius was lying, and it was in this woman. And I said, "Would you just come and help me sort this charity out?" She said, "Yes, I would. Emma, I'll do it in my spare time. I'll do it at weekends." She did it, and that's where the idea came from. She transformed the fortunes of a charity using all that big charity knowledge. And I said, "Wait a minute, Pauline. What happens if we do this for thousands and thousands of small charities?" So instead of me giving my £30,000 and then them running out, and instead of me giving someone £1 and 80p being spent helping somebody, how's about if every time I give you £1, you use it to go out and train small charities and they turn it into £5, £6. See the point we're making, everybody? They suddenly learn how to fundraise, how to apply to trust, how to get £500,000 in your first go. Yeah? How to do this. If we can teach the small charities this, then that's real sustainability. That means every time I spend £1, you're going to turn it into £5. And I'm a businesswoman and I love that. Yeah? I understand that. And that's what we mean by smart philanthropy. That's what we mean. So there's the story. Anyway, And on that basis, we set the FSI up. And we set the Foundation for Social Improvement. We said its first job is to support small charities and train them. And give them guidance and give them support and become their partner and give them all the things that you hear are missing. And that's what we did. And I'm sure you're going to sort of tell them what we've been doing about that. But we've been going for a few years now, and the next big thing for me is this, is that we've set this up, we've proved it works, it's absolutely fabulous, and it's making a difference to thousands of small charities. And people have supported us so well. But the next thing is this, is that people do support the FSI, but I know there's people in the room, and I'm looking around for you now because I'm absolutely impressed. Where's Mike?
I think he might have let us.
Has Mike had to go?
Yeah,
Mike's had to go.
Mike Clare is the CEO of his new organisation.
Right, okay, nice to meet you. But so there's a guy called Mike Clare who we'd known from Dreams, remember Dreams, the beds and all the rest of it? He's taken the idea and he's going to do it again for your area of the country. Is it Buckinghamshire? So this whole FSI model of let's stop just handing the money out, but actually get the building, nurture the small charities, free training, support them so they can go out, these small guys, where they touch the people right at the front line, go out and explode and go and stay sustainable and really work hard. So I'm really pleased. So if there's anybody else in the room would like to set one of these up, feel free. And Pauline goes in and consults and helps them do it, and we'll help them set this whole thing up. So, because we want to see smart philanthropy. We want to see people giving gifts that turn into something much, much bigger. Yeah, and I think it should appeal to lots of the money people in the room, that one. So we've already got our first guy doing that, and he's putting millions into it, isn't he? It's fantastic. So that's what we do. That's where the idea came from. We don't want to see any of these small charities falling over. We want them to stay in business because they make a difference every single day. So do the big ones. Bless them. They're absolutely magnificent. But have you ever seen these small ones? They're absolutely wonderful. A young woman called Pippa. We came across her. We gave Pippa, it's about the equivalent of £170 worth of advice, that was all. She was helping prostitutes around the King's Cross area. And she was just advice, guidance, knowledge, just doing what she could. But she hadn't got any money. She was going to run out of money. She couldn't do any more than that. The FSI picked her up, trained her a little bit, given her a little bit of guidance, gone off, applied for a trust and foundation, whereas before she'd spent days filling these forms and go nowhere. First time after she's had a bit of training, guess what she got? £26,000. Yeah? So now she can really go out and do the work and find out. It's fantastic, and that's what the FSI is about, giving the power to the small charities, giving them the fishing rod and not the fish. So that's really what I've got to say, and thank you very much for being here today. And if you all want to go and set one up too, we'll help you. Yeah, we don't need to control this thing. We just want to start a revolution in smart philanthropy. So thank you for listening. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. So I want to share with you what inspires me, what really inspires me. It's those amazing people that walk next to me and you each day. They see what we see, they hear what we hear, but they pay just that little bit more attention than we do. As they walk to work, or as they go down to the shops, or as they watch a moving programme on television about some social injustice, or listen on the radio about some tragedy that's happened, or, as in the case of Tim and Yasmin Parr, who right now are building a community centre in Sri Lanka because they witnessed the absolute abject poverty of children living on tea plantations when they were on their honeymoon. These are the amazing people who see the injustices in our world, in their local communities and in our country, and they don't turn away. They don't walk on the other side. They see the problems with eyes wide open, with hearts full of passion, and with the determination to do something about it. They can and they do take action. And this is how small charities dealing with grassroots issues are born. It starts with an emotional response. Emma told you about her moment in Dagenham. It starts with the spark of an idea. It starts with a feeling of what might be. It starts with one of the FSI's values, a sense of the possible. They get their friends working on the problem, around the kitchen table, in the local pub. It really doesn't matter. In the beginning, they do small things. They make small changes happen. But as time goes on, they see vast improvements. Perhaps there are less kids hanging around local street corners making a nuisance of themselves. Perhaps there's a woman in a small African village weaving her own cloth and earning enough money to feed and educate her children out of poverty. Perhaps a government has been persuaded to increase its targets and reduce its carbon emissions. Perhaps, the list of what small charities achieve in our world is limitless. Whatever the issues, changes happen. Life for the sick, for the vulnerable, for the disadvantaged improves. In the UK alone, 162,000 small charities right now are working to make your world a better and a safer place to live in. Every change that happens because someone saw someone else or something that needed help and they gave it. Happens because someone saw someone else. They do not have the specialist skills and they gave that the major charities have been investing millions in developing for year after year. Importantly, they need every penny they raise to address the issues that those they help face. They don't have the financial or other resources to invest in the skills needed so that they can do more. Each day, small charities face the challenge of how to gain those skills, to get more support, to leverage more income, to increase their impact. In 2007, Emma saw just that little bit more. Emma listened to small charities just that little bit more. Emma decided to understand exactly what small charities were saying to her just that little bit more, and to give more, and to make something amazing happen for small charities. That was the birth of the FSI. Like all new ventures, she first dreamed, and then, like Emma always does, she took action, and the result of those actions and those dreams is the FSI. This evening, I'd like you to spend just a few minutes looking at the FSI map of the causes that we support. We've picked out just a few of the small charities that we've invested in over the last year. But behind each of those categories, there are hundreds more charities that in the last 2 years have received FSI support. More importantly, behind each charity are hundreds and thousands, if not millions, of men, women, children, causes and issues that need our help. The FSI has a huge programme of support services that it delivers free of charge to small charities, those without the financial resources that need the opportunities to increase their capacity. We don't deny them those opportunities, and they don't then therefore deny their beneficiaries the opportunities to have their problems solved. I'd like to introduce you to Big Kid, and not him personally, he's not called Big Kid. Big Kid, an amazing new charity that's supported by the FSI, Shaninga.
They say never build a house on sand, it won't stand. So they came, they saw, they brought a solution. Formed a small group of passionate people that have a passion for the people, you see. Over 4,000 charities are closed every year. Over 70 a week, that's 10 every day. Because they lack the skills to fundraise, network, to do what they do, to do what they know to do, help support the lives of millions and maybe even you. On a daily basis, they teach how to do well by doing the basics. Let's face it, without giving, the wheel stops spinning, like pausing a playlist. So let's come together and give whatever we can. To do the plan, we need supply from all our hands. This is the foundation for social improvement.
Well done. In the last 2 years, the FSI has demonstrated its worth to the sector. It's proved that the model of free support for small charities where they need it the most really does work. In 2010, the FSI will expand its free services. We will share more knowledge than ever before. We will support more small charities to raise more income than ever before. We will create, through Small Charity Week in the UK, more awareness than ever before of small charities. In short, we will do more than ever before for small charities in the UK and beyond. We will work hard. We will be creative and we will come up with new ideas and new ways of supporting small charities. In 2008, FSI donors donated £250,000 to the FSI. In turn, we delivered over £1 million of free support and leveraged income to small charities. As we move forward, we promise you that for every pound that's donated for us, we will leverage it to its maximum. We can't do this on our own. We only can do this with the support of organisations and individuals who share our passion and our values. Organisations like A4E. A4E who funded the FSI at the very beginning. A4E who fund the FSI today. And A4E who will continue to fund us into the future. They have been joined by Legal & General, by Credit Suisse, by Zurich Insurance, by the Schroeder and Abbey Charitable Trusts, and more recently by Saatchi. What do you think of the jewellery range? It's pretty good, isn't it? Okay. On sale this Christmas. And by a growing number of philanthropists who know that smart philanthropy really does work. So, because you share our vision and our values, and those visions and values of our supporters, many of whom are here this evening, we've asked you here tonight to consider being part of our future. Could you start by supporting the FSI by doing two simple things? I know you're all very intrigued about what's in the envelope. I'd like you to open the envelope before you leave this evening and put your sticker on our map to let us know which of the causes and things that we support inspire you the most. Secondly, when we contact you in the next few days, and we will, please take a meeting. We want to show you how your help can make a world of difference to small charities. And if my son was here this evening, he'd say, here she goes again. There's an African proverb that says it takes a whole village to raise one child. I want you to help the FSI raise the opportunities for small charities to be more than they ever dreamed possible. I want to thank you for coming here tonight. Thank you for listening. And I want you to continue in the future to be part of the FSI's village. Thank you.